Okay. Yeah. So you look better, way better
Oh, okay.
now.
Hmm.
So
I just switched to a hardwire connection. It's just like my router's like 2 feet from my computer, but I guess
yeah.
that's interference. Maybe all the pop cans I have on my desk.
Cool. All right. All right. Want to start over again?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm getting so good at it.
I know it's awesome. We're like, oh man, I never had this issue before.
Oh yeah, no, it's probably my end. Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah. No problem. No, I don't know. It's early morning. Everyone's like trying to get their stuff done on time.
Yeah,
But yeah. Okay. So welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
thanks a lot.
Yeah. And you just came out with a new course. And so which I want to talk about courses. I want to talk about background and everything like that. But I just wanted to make sure we talk about your new course and it's like about new JavaScript, right? Is that what it?
Yeah, so it's es6.io, and the course is called ES6 for everyone. So for those who don't know, ES6 or ES 2015 is the next iteration, the next standard of JavaScript, and it adds stuff on top of the existing JavaScript. It's kind of like when we got CSS3, we added stuff on top of the existing CSS. So there's all kinds of new stuff that comes along in ES6, and this course is for anyone who wants to get up to speed in every little feature that ES6 brings to us.
Well, then, well, I know CSS pretty well, so
Yeah,
I want to continue on with that analogy, see if I can break it at some
yeah,
point. So if I use CSS3, the
yeah,
idea would be it would fall back and the browsers wouldn't choke on it. So if I use E6, would that
yep.
would older browsers be able to handle it, or what would happen?
Yeah, yes and no. So it won't work in older browsers. However, we have this thing called Babel, or everyone pronounces it differently. But what happens is it transpiles your code into ES5. So if you were to write any of the features in ES6, it will compile it down to whatever the equivalent is in ES5. So you remember, like back in the day, we had like rounded corners.htc where
Mhm.
you didn't have border radius and you'd fall back to this like weird thing, or like we'd have PNG fix where I think IE6 didn't have like transparent PNGs.
Right.
So those were like polyfills where if it didn't work in older browsers, someone would find a workaround to it. And in JavaScript, if some of these things don't work, you can just recreate that functionality with existing JavaScript. So it's kind of a cool thing to learn because it just works in all the browsers.
Right. And so I was going through the initial getting used to the course and everything like that, but it seems like there's a lot of setup involved. Like, not a lot of setup, but just some setup involved. And you have a course on Sublime, so of course I'm using Sublime because you have a
Yeah.
course. So and so you have to install like a package or packages in Sublime and to make this all work out, right? So,
It's actually the course I've done until module. Where is it? Until the 14th module, I don't do a single tool. It's just a simple .html file.
okay.
And that's because all of this stuff works in all of the latest browsers.
Oh,
So
nice.
whether you're using IE Edge or Safari or Chrome or Firefox, all of the stuff has been implemented in all these browsers.
Oh, nice.
It's only when like you've got somebody on like a 2 or 3 year old browser and you need to support them. So
Okay.
there's no tooling involved until you actually need to go to production. And that's where you need to bring in something like
Oh, nice.
Webpack or Gulp or something like
Oh,
that.
nice. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's surprisingly easy to get up and running with this stuff in just a .html file.
Okay. Cool. So awesome. Sweet. All right. And then is there any surprises about ES6 that you liked, or that you're glad that's there, or
Yeah, all of it. It's all so nice to. It's funny once you start writing it and you have to go back to writing ES5 for like maybe a project that doesn't have the tooling set up. There's all kinds of stuff like template strings, being able to. I don't know if you've done other languages, but in almost every other language, you can just pop a variable inside of a string. And in JavaScript, you have to like do this weird concatenation thing. So in ES6, you can use backticks, which allow you to just pop variables and also any arbitrary JavaScript inside of a string, and it will execute without having to close and open your strings again.
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, JavaScript is a foreign language to me still, so I'm still strong.
Oh, yeah.
So,
There's all kinds of stuff in it, and a lot of the videos, what I do is I go through and do a quick review of what things work. So like there's a lot of stuff in ES6 around scoping, and the
Okay.
keyword this, which a lot of people still don't really understand at all. So I try to make sure that before we introduce another step of complexity to the keyword this, that we're all sort of caught up on how it existing works.
Right. Yeah, I think my problem is like I'm not sure if anyone else has this type of problem, but just like um, just it's hard for me to code because it's my job. It just doesn't really like allow me to code constantly all the time.
Hmm.
But it's like I know JavaScript, the bits and pieces of it, but I think I
Yep.
just if I were to code JavaScript and do projects all the time, I'd be probably solve this problem. But just putting all the pieces together in terms of this is what I need for this is what I need for that, and what I need for this. And so I kind of equate it to my problem of not knowing the language pretty well in terms of, which is what, it's a language, of course, but just like knowing the right words to say at the right
Yeah.
time and
Yeah.
implement them. And so it's hard for me to say like, oh, I need to implement this. What do I need to, I know I need to do this function, but I'm not sure what things I need to pull from JavaScript to make it.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, especially with a lot of my students who are new. They're like, I don't know what I don't know, and
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start with this kind of thing. And honestly, you nailed it. It's just more you just spend more time in it, and
Yeah.
that's something that you get better. You know what to Google. You get better at the terminology
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And it's just time. It's not personality type or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the amount of time I put in to learn CSS was like, I'm kind of embarrassed sometimes, but
Yeah.
it helps out
Yeah,
a
me
lot.
too. Like even this course, I put like how many hours? I think I put like 300 hours into this course,
Yeah.
and then people could take it in like 5 or 6 hours, and it's just like, oh, I needed this course.
Yeah. Oh man, cool. And then I do want to talk about your other courses, and then I do want to talk about like the nature of the. Well, let's just talk about the nature of the courses.
Yeah,
Let's put a pin about talking about your other courses later, but which are
yeah,
also.
yeah.
But like the nature, how do you go around building your courses? What goes into them?
Yeah, usually what happens is I'll start with sort of an idea or something that someone needs to learn. So for React or ES6, I'll say, okay, these are the things that we need to learn. And then I'll think of something that's really fun to build along the way, or in the case of ES6, a whole bunch of stuff that's fun to build. And also something that you would use in your day to day. So you could look at an example app that you're building and relate it to something that you're going to build in your actual code. And then sort of once I have what you need to learn and what you're going to build, I sort of work backwards and go through all of the pieces. Make sure I do a lot of research to make sure that what I'm teaching is best practice, or I actually know what I'm talking about. So a big chunk of it is the research end of it as well.
So like how do you know when you say you just pick a topic and how do you know what people need to know about the next version of JavaScript? Like how would you know like this is
Yeah.
all they need to know or is it just
A lot of
yeah.
part of it is ES6. It's going into the spec and reading all the different pieces of what is new in JavaScript. This one was a little bit easier to fill because you just take a list of everything that is new and go through each piece, explaining it and making sure you understand all the ins and outs of it. And then I don't know, with the other courses, it's just lots of research, lots of reading blog posts and articles, lots of talking to experts in the industry and asking them what their thoughts are, and listening to what people on Twitter say about X, Y, and Z. So it's really just immersing yourself. Like there's no way I'd be able to crank out like for example an Angular 2 course. Like I know a little bit about Angular 2 right now, and I'm starting to ramp up on it, but there's no way I could crank it out in a week or so because I haven't been immersed in that. So if I were to do an Angular 2 course, I would need to spend a couple months making sure that I actually know this community and everything and all the different ins and outs of it.
Okay, cool. And then you do offer some courses for free, is that right? Like well, not for free, but like people just sign up for it, but like the Flexbox course.
Yeah, I've got a couple different free ones out there, and that's sort of my gateway drug.
Yeah.
So I offer them for free, or people have to sign up for them.
Right.
And then when they get them, they go through them, and for me, that's a way to show people what my teaching style is like. And that's where I find a lot of people who buy my courses. They say, "Hey, I really like the way that you explain Flex Grow. I never understood it before." And
Right.
I really like the way that you explain it. And I sort of find like my little tribe of people that like the way I explain things. Yeah, so I have a whole bunch of different free ones, and it's really cool because like the free ones let me get paid for the paid ones, and then the paid ones let me make more free ones, and it's just this like never-ending cycle. Hopefully,
Hmm.
where if enough people buy the paid ones, I can just keep cranking out the free ones as well.
Cool. And is this your day job?
Yeah, I've recently, just for the last maybe 2 months, I've gone full time on this. But I've been doing this for, I don't know, about 3 years now,
Mm.
while I've been doing consulting and stuff. So I still will always do some consulting because nobody likes a teacher who just does like examples and doesn't actually encounter real world problems. So
Right.
all of the stuff here, I want to make sure that I'm actually using it in my day to day code before I just teach somebody the top level stuff.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I can totally understand that. So.
Hmm.
So the question we always ask people is like, how do you get involved with the web, and
Oh,
what was the first moment you saw the web as like you interacted with it?
yeah. The first moment I interacted with it is I think I was grade 5 or 5th grade, as you all say down there. Um, and I don't know. My dad was in IT, so we had first internet connection on the block,
Oh,
and
nice.
I used it to download games and just cruise the web. And it wasn't then when I started building, but I think when I was in like grade 7 or so, I got my domain name wesbos.com for my birthday. And that led to me figuring out how to build websites, and all that good stuff behind it. And then in high school, I was really involved in like the hardcore scene, in like the hardcore music scene here in Canada, and I was doing a lot of Photoshop, doing like band art and T-shirts and like just like skulls and blood and all kinds of stuff like that. And then MySpace came around, and I don't know if you were on MySpace, but uh, the way it worked is that you would put a style tag in
Hmm.
your bio,
Right.
and any CSS that you popped into your bio would be applied to your thing, and that just blew up because everybody was. And it's funny how many devs I meet now
Hmm.
that got their chops in CSS from MySpace, because it was just a nested table disaster,
Oh, yeah.
and there was like no class names on anything, so it was just like TD 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 TR TD TD TH 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 TD, and then that would be the selector where you would like style the audio player or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Of course, I don't want to brag, but I was on
Yeah,
MySpace, and Tom was my friend. I just want to just you so,
that's
but
great. Yeah, I it's funny because like I use Twitter now to like get a lot of my sales, and meet a lot of people, and let them know about what I'm doing. But like when I was doing band t-shirts, I had like 20,000 people on MySpace following me,
wow.
and that's where almost all of my income was coming from when I was in high school. It was just building t-shirts and MySpaces and CD art and posters and all that good stuff.
Okay, so there's like so many things that you mentioned that I have to follow up on.
Yeah.
One is you got a domain name for your birthday.
Yeah.
So like that is like, did you ask for that? Did your
Yeah. I was like, I remember looking at it like a hosting package was a couple $100 or something like that, and then the domain name was like, I don't know, like $25 at the time.
yeah?
And I was just like, I was kind of embarrassed. I remember being like, I think I would. I told my parents I wanted to like start a business, and I was kind of embarrassed to ask about it for a long time because I thought that was stupid. Uh, but uh, but it ended up happening, and they got it for me, and it really just took off from there because I would just put these t-shirt designs. If you go back on Wayback Machine, you can see all these t-shirt designs that I did.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
So what's
trying
that?
to see on who is when it was registered. 2004,
2004. Okay.
12 years ago, almost 12, almost 13 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right. Cool. And then what were you in a band?
No, that's the thing, is I wanted to be so bad,
Yeah.
but I was just terrible at all of music, and I couldn't. And like I also wanted to like do backup vocals for friends, and like it was like all like screaming and stuff, and I just couldn't kick it at any of that stuff. But like I could make these like really sick t-shirt designs, and and everything like that. So I was like really involved in the like management and like getting the merch done and talking with printers, and I would sort of like manage bands, I guess you could say. Right? I would do all the behind the scenes stuff that wasn't making music.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. So you're doing
Yeah,
design work and just getting them. Yeah, just I mean that's a serious job right there.
yeah, it was fun. Like I was making, like I would charge like $40 for a t-shirt design,
Yeah,
uh, but it wasn't much. But like as a kid in high school, it was good money for me, right?
right. I mean, yeah, you get to learn and then you get paid at the same time. So
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
animated gifs were another thing. On MySpace, everyone would have like animated gifs of the band with
Mhm.
like lightning in the background. I would do a lot of those as well. I think it was like $15 for an animated gif.
Okay. Do you want to do a shout out to the bands that you worked on? That's all. What type
Yeah.
of band did you
Oh,
do?
way back then. The big one was is still a friend of mine, was Guilty as Charged. Just a local band here. Some guys I grew up with.
Hmm.
But all over the place. I can't even remember some of the names that I, I worked with.
That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's funny. Now that everybody is like old and grown up, I start seeing all these guys that were in bands. They come back to me for websites now because everybody, like, I like lost touch with everybody for like a couple of years, and now everyone's grown up and has kids, and then they're like, oh, I actually have a business now. I need a website.
Yeah, pretty awesome. Cool. And then I do want to say that we talked to a lot of people, and or I know a lot of people who started in music and then they had to make a band site,
Yep.
and that's how they got roped into it. So
Yeah. Is that how you got into it too?
no, I was a
Oh,
nerd.
okay.
I was an uber nerd. No, how did I get to it? No one's really asked me that before.
Oh well.
I think maybe yeah, that's the first time. So, but you're turning the tables on me, and I don't like that. I don't appreciate that at all. But yeah, how did I get involved with it? I don't know. It's well, the internet was there's something called Freenet, and I think it's a little different. Like there's people have a different. There's a Freenet in Austin, which is totally different than the Freenets back in the day, before everyone had an email address.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs roamed the earth, and so people realized that hey, there's this cool thing coming. Let's get people connected and like try to make it more open. And so it's called Freenet. And various cities had a Freenet. I forgot if it's like a kind of like a franchise thing, but not really like pay for it. But
Hmm.
and so Tallahassee, Florida, had one, and it was out of Florida State University. I'm not sure. And I guess there was a grant or something that paid for two people who were just really just had like really just gave up more of their time than they probably should have, and you could sign up for a free email account,
Yep.
and you didn't have to be a part of a university or anything like that. You just you actually send I think a check, and you print out a dot matrix form, like one printer, and just send it off, and like yeah, I have like an email address, and so that's how I got involved with the
That's
internet
cool.
and IRC and online forums, and then they came up with this like free web page thing, and it's just like you had a tilde address and everything, and I was just like another thing to learn because I already learned Gopher and Archie, to transfer stuff. I'm like, oh, what's this web stuff?
Yeah.
And so I just built a web page, and it was just this ugly looking thing, but it was pretty awesome, like so you get the
That's really cool.
links to things. So and then at the time I was doing high school journalism,
Yeah.
and so I was like the graphic designer guy.
Oh yeah.
So I was a guy not getting paid $40 per T-shirt, but I was doing it for free, or for high school credit, I guess, and to build the layouts and designs in Photoshop. So and then,
That's really cool.
but yeah, and then and then I spent too much time learning CSS, so and tables, some of that too. So cool. Yeah. So your courses that are free are the Flexbox and Markdown, right?
Flexbox, Markdown, Learn Redux, which is sort of like next steps after you take my React for Beginners course.
Mm-hmm.
So I sort of did, like drug dealers say the first one is free. I did the second one is free.
Okay.
But that was basically people got through my React course and said, hey, like keep doing it because I keep want to learning like the next step
Mm-hmm.
in learning React. So that one I got a company called Sentry to come, and they paid for my time to dev all of the stuff and record it and everything, and then that allowed me to release it for free. And then I have a one on command line, which is called command line power user, and that just you know, like when like designers or like front end devs
Mm.
first enter the terminal, it's like impossible to use.
Right.
So it's aimed at like getting comfortable in the terminal, so you're not just like pasting in random commands you found online.
Right. Yeah. Which is always. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
I find it's really tough too. It's just I've been trying to get over the command line. It's still kind of tough. I still have to cheat my way through
yeah.
that too. So, but again, that's another thing with like trying to know the commands helps. Knowing the language helps out.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Because I was teaching, or I still do. I teach like a course in Toronto, and whenever I would do anything on the terminal, people would stop me. And is from like, how do you get that color to what did you just do there to hop 3 levels, or how did you quickly access that folder? So like, I just got tired of
Yeah.
explaining it to people, so I just recorded a series, and it's been doing really well.
Cool. Yeah. And yeah, because it's kind of hard to do that.
It's really hard to get up and running. It's weird that like front end devs have to use this thing called the command line, which is previously a very I don't know, low level thing, and now with JavaScript, it's becoming a very like common thing.
Well, I think it's not just that, but I think it's just what would you say? Like, I think you know we have this thing called responsive web design. We have to build for like 2 to 3 to 4 versions of our website. We have to make sure our CSS is more complex because we have to build and maintain for these different things. You know, we have this thing called design systems now, which we try to modularize our CSS. We have to optimize our images. There's all these modules with Gulp and these task runners. That kind of started with Ben Altman doing Grunt.
Yep.
And then Gulp and stuff like that. So it's all these tasks that do it. I mean, and you just can't have. There was. I'm not sure it's still out there. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm probably still going to use it a lot more because I'm still trying to suffer through command line and Gulp, which is a whole different issue because I think my computer's borked between Mac ports and Brew, and so I have to like.
Yeah.
So I basically just ripped everything out, and I'm starting fresh again. And I was like, something has to give. But yeah, so we have all these things, and so it's become so using CodeKit, right? So we could use CodeKit to like speed up the process and make it GUI, but then you have to master the GUI for CodeKit.
Yeah.
Do all that stuff like that, and that doesn't really spread up. It doesn't rev up for team development from what I gather.
No.
So
no, it has like same with preproc. They have like .preproc files, but then you have to get like everybody to install it and to import that file and
right,
everything like that.
right, and then you have to like deal with Git and GitHub and do all stuff like that. So, and it just seems like it's better just to build your own like mini code kit, with the task runners and stuff like that. So, so you have to like be thrown into the command line, as a person. So.
Yeah, you can try dance around it for as long as you can, but I find that eventually everybody is gonna figure out how to get into the command line, right?
Yeah, I think so too. Yep, I think so too. So the sooner you get over it, the better.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. So can you describe the courses and what you use to build them? Are they like the software you use, or like are they basically just video courses or screen captures?
They are screen captures, or I use a program called ScreenFlow to record all of them, and then I have like a backend system that I've built on Node and Express, and that runs the entire system for the paid ones at least. So that does all the accounts and the charging and the receipts and accessing the videos that they should and blocking the ones that they shouldn't and all that. And then the free ones I'm moving over to that, but right now it's just some GitHub pages. It's all on GitHub, which is kind of cool. You can see it. It's a big gulp file, GitHub pages, and then I've got some PHP scripts that I hit with Ajax that will send the videos to you once you signed up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because the cost is just your email address.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't like giving out your email address, then you can also find them on YouTube and stuff like that, or you can just put in a burner. A fair amount of people do that. They put in a burner email address, and
Yeah.
I don't mind that either. It's just most people that put it in their email address, they want to hear when I have more stuff.
Right.
So
Well, I think
it's
it's kind of fair for all the work you put
yeah,
into it. So
yeah, exactly. I think so. Sometimes you get a couple cranky people, but
yeah.
this is how I run my business and feed my family, so I'm not too worried about it.
Right. All right. Cool. All right. Let's see. So do you know what your next course is? Your
I am
path?
going to right now. I'm re-recording my React one, just because that stuff changes so quickly. And then after that, I've got a couple ideas out there. I want to do a Git one eventually. I want to do a Node one eventually. I'm tossing around an Angular 2 one. Just all kinds of ideas. Basically, just listening
Mm.
to what people's pain points are and what's becoming popular, and that's sort of how I choose.
Okay. Cool. Cool. And then one thing I noticed, and it's getting kind of, I don't know, like one is the popularity of Slack, but I noticed like you have Slack channels that so when people sign up, they can
Yeah,
sign up for Slack. How is that?
it's awesome. I love it. So every time you buy a course, you get added to the Slack,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's rooms that people can talk about the course together, and it's really great because like there's no way that at $60 or whatever I charge for the course that I can give private support to every single person that has a question.
Mm-hmm.
So the Slack chat is just a way for people to ask questions, people to help, and it's really cool because like that's how you get better at these things is you help other people and you help explain it and you teach other people. So everyone just helps each other, and then also there's just like it's just this community of pals that has sort of come together where everyone is just talking about everything web development related and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I think my big fear is, and this could be just because I'm an old fogey on the internet, is just like some like you get a bad egg or something like that. But I don't think that's in the community in the Slack channel. So is that
A bad egg in there.
yeah
Yeah, it actually I'm sure that will happen eventually, but it really hasn't happened just yet.
right?
Yeah, it's I've sort of just said this thing is self-moderating until it needs to be.
Mm.
And at that point, I might have to get a couple extra hands in to help out. But it's so far it's been I don't know. I think that you get a really nice crowd when people pay for stuff. You don't get the YouTube gremlins coming out. You get there's a lot of really nice people in this
Yeah.
industry, and I think I've found them in my Slack room.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest fear, but I think that's pretty cool. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome as support for that. So sorry. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm gonna cut this one out in post. But I was trying to fight that one for our time, but I could not get to the mute button in time. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, cool. Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. But I do want to say that my first time I met you on that story it's a quick story, but I think the first time I met you was at CSS DevConf.
Yeah, I got my look at this. I don't know if you're doing video, but I have
Yeah.
a pencil
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. So and you get the pencil for we don't really promote it on CSS DevConf, but yeah, you get if you win like the top 6
Yeah,
presentations, you get a giant pencil award.
I was very proud of it. It's clearly displayed behind my head.
Cool, awesome. And,
Yeah, that was a really fun conference. That was I don't know. That was 3 years ago.
I don't know. Was that not last year? Yeah, it was 2 years ago. Yeah, almost
2014,
Yeah,
2013. Yeah, that was. I really enjoyed that one. That was one of my first bigger conferences that I had done.
cool. Yeah, like my the first time I met you though was at the we were at the was it Hotel Montileone, and it's this beautiful hotel. It's the last family-owned hotel in New Orleans, and it's in French Quarter. They have a rooftop pool, and I was taking photos for social media, just walking around, and you're out there just taking it easy by the pool, and I was just like, this guy has it made.
Oh, I totally remember that. Yeah,
So,
that was loving that. Yeah, that's one of the perks of working for yourself, right?
yeah, I was like, man, this guy, he knows what's up. So
That's great.
Cool, man. Well, thanks so much for being here and sharing your time.
No problem. Anytime. Thanks so much for having me.
Cool. And how can people find you on the internet?
Wes Bos, WESBOS on everything. Just Google it and you'll find me.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much, man.
All right. No problem. Thank you.